Good morning and welcome again. Gives me great pleasure to introduce my two colleagues who will be conducting today's session on Outlook and Institution Building. Professor Ashish Pandey. Professor Ashish Pandey is faculty in S.J. Mehta School of Management in the area of Human Resource Management. His PhD from Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, and he has received training in participant-centric learning in Harvard Business School. He has 10 years of experience in industry and in industry research and consulting. His areas of expertise are leadership development, and he has been consultant to many companies like BMC Software, Indo-German Tool Room, Novartis, Wipro. His research papers, inventory, and approach notes have appeared in several leading national and international journals. Professor Virendra Sethi will be jointly conducting this workshop with Professor Ashish today. Professor Sethi is professor in Center for Environmental Science and Engineering at IIT Bombay. He is alumni of our institute. His BTech in Chemical Engineering from IIT Bombay, and then done his MS and PhD in Environmental Engineering from University of Cincinnati. His expertise in aerosol and air quality control and nanopowder synthesis. Several PhD students have received his guidance. He has been jointly conducting workshops of this type with Professor Pandey over the last few years, and I hand over to Professor Ashish and Professor Virendra for conducting today's session. Thank you.
All right, now the group leaders are in front here, right? Okay, so would you please give the group leaders a big clap? All right, now the group leaders, please give a clap to the people who made you group leaders. So you know there's nobody who's the right group leader. Actually, it's generous of people in your group to have you be the group leader, and generous of you to be the group leader so that you can do the extra work. All right, so if you're feeling good and all that stuff about, group leader, sorry, extra work is coming your way. All right, okay, good. So if the group leaders could please come up and receive from Professor Ashish Pandey, receive a chart paper. We'll give you each a chart paper, and we'll give you instructions later. So you please take that chart paper and a set of marker pens, so you can then later when you need it, you can work on it with your group. So one at a time, please come, take that, and then go back to your group. Thank you. It feels like you're back in school, right? Color pencils, charts, everything, right? Good, okay. All right, so quick round. BG, SBU, Rajouri. Okay, very good. So groups are formed, you're in good shape. Yes, I have a suggestion. Because we will need some room, there's enough seats at the back, so when we actually start the exercise, you're welcome to spread around as groups. Everybody okay with that? So, okay, once we start the exercise, you're welcome to move around in groups. CTE Udaipur. Excellent. Government Engineering College, Ajmer. Excellent. Government Engineering College, Jhalawar. Okay, Government Mahila Engineering College, Ajmer. So I don't hear a yay. All right, very good. All right, Government College of Engineering and Technology, Bikaner. IIT Manipur, Triple IT Manipur. Okay, yay. Okay. MBM Engineering College, Jodhpur. Nalanda College of Engineering, Nalanda. Everybody say yay. Well, Nalanda is not here, nobody's here. Okay. Nalanda, how many people? 8 people from Nalanda, not here? Okay, very good. PMEC, Behrampur. Okay. University College of Engineering, RTU, Kota. Say yay. Okay, good. All right, so thank you. Thank you. I know some of you came in a little late. So the way we have set it up right now is, from each college, there are many teams. Sometimes if the college is large, they'll have 6, 7 teams. If it's a small college group, then it's one team. But a group of about 6 people per team, about I say. Okay, it could be 5, it could be 7. Just make sure that everybody's included. Okay, so the group leader would have gotten the chart paper and a set of pens like this. Some of you are complaining you only got 4. Give me one back. Okay, somebody said, "Mereko 6 mila, mereko 4 mila, jo mila acha mila." Okay, very good. So the idea is to use it well, and Professor Ashish Pandey will give instructions. All right. So this part of the setting up is now complete. So give a big hand to yourself. Excellent. So what we're going to do here is actually like maybe just a seed being given, and I want you to know that whatever we're going to be saying over here is not something new. You already know it. All we're going to do is have this be a point or have this be an opportunity for all of us to align to something and give ourselves. How many of you at some point in time were in love? नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं बोल यार कुछ ऐसे हैं जिनको पता ही नहीं love क्या होता है. Don't worry about that. How many of you at sometimes this is sometimes I ask people to close their eyes because people are shy about saying that I'm in love, that kind of thing. Okay, so everybody at some point in time. Yeah. Okay, now when you're in love, the heart goes bubuk bubuk bubuk. Yes. Okay, and your hands sweat and all kinds of things happen. Now there was a time in your life and my life when we had that kind of a relationship with life, and at some point in time. You now have to set up an alarm in the morning to get up. And when it rings in the morning, you snooze. Thank God for snooze. Otherwise, you say, "Kisne lagaya tha raat ko alarm?" You don't, somebody has to wake you up, or somebody, yaar, jeena hai to, what's that famous song? Jeevan mein aaye hain to? Jeevan hai agar zahar to? What have we turned life into? Alright, so we're going to kill all of that today. So that a new you, a new possibility can emerge. Possible? Excellent. All right. So, this little charts and these little things, these are all okay. But what's going to give life to it is who? The person in your chair. Not we, huh? Not we. The person in your chair. See, a lot of times when I say, come up in front, if I ask you come in front, you look to see, yaar, mere ko to nahi bol rahe hain, kisi aur ko bol rahe hain. Nahi, nahi, nahi. Abhi, I am talking to the person who is in your chair. Raise your hand if you're in your chair. Okay, I'm talking to you. If it is not clear to you, keep your hands raised. Keep your hand raised. Up, up, up. Haath upar, sabka haath upar. Everybody's hand up. If you don't know who I'm talking about, follow your hand and say, me. So if you're waiting for someone else to do it for you, I'm sorry, but no permission today for that. So I need some permission from you. Ready? Okay. Ashish and I cannot do the work that we are going to do with you till we have your permission. You have no idea what you're granting us. So you should know that it's actually brain surgery. Alright? And you'll be delighted by the end of it. Or you will go as is. Jaise aaye the, वैसे ही जाएंगे. No, that's the worst that can happen. Is that okay? Alright, excellent. Anybody objecting to it right now, please say so. Otherwise, I will... Later नहीं होगा. Brain surgery जब हो रही है, उससे मैं को नहीं करना नहीं होगा. Anybody? It's a? Aha. So I have my legal documented things kept aside. Don't worry about it. Okay. So Sachin, you're there. You take care of me. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Excellent. So you should just know that. Just want you to know that whatever work we're going to do, it's our privilege to be working with you. All right. A lot of times acknowledgement comes at the end. I want to start with that acknowledgement. So thank you for putting yourself through this training. Some of you didn't come by choice, I know. Many of you didn't come by choice. But to come to a point where you're giving us permission to do brain surgery, I salute you for that. Yeah? Okay, thank you. Alright, so, start kare? Okay. Everybody knows each other in your group, right? So let me tell you this now, okay? You know each other too much. I'm going to assert something. What I'm asserting is that you know each other already too much. Do you come to the college and you meet this person and you say, I know who he is? Bolte nahi hai. But inside the internal conversation that's going on is, I know this guy's background, I know what he's capable of, I know what she's doing. Yeah? Okay. So in some sense, you might have to let go. Because the conversation that we're going to deal with cannot come carrying from the past. Past will only allow something to continue as is. If you want to create something from the future, you'll have to meet each person in your group freshly for the first time and listen for their strengths. What is the greatest acknowledgement that you could ever get? When your strengths are recognized and appreciated. Yes? Each one of you have some strengths? Oh, come on, human beings, raise your hands. Alright, each one of you. Now, some of you are thinking, I have these 3 strengths, but I have 30 non-strengths. And therefore, I should not raise my hand. No, I'm talking only about the 3 strengths that you have. Yes? Okay, excellent. Now, you know that you've been hiding. See, we don't express our strength, we don't share it, we don't manifest it, we don't express it, we don't, have it be used up completely for anything which is of importance to us, and then we're hoping that somebody someday will recognize me. Nahi hai wo. That's not the game. And I just want you to know that by the end of this session, I'd like for you to be acknowledged completely, such that now you are the source of acknowledgement. If you are the source of acknowledgement, what happens? If you are the source of acknowledgement, what happens? Anybody who comes in contact with you goes away a bigger human being. When you are the source of acknowledgement, anybody who meets with you gets recognized for their strengths and walks away from you a much bigger person. It's, people, jinko milke khushi hoti hai yaar. You feel so thrilled. Arey yaar, I met that person, and you say, wow, din ban gaya aaj mera. You are that kind of people, and I'd like for you to take ownership of that. That when somebody comes in contact with you, that they walk away a bigger human being. Acceptable? Agar aapko acknowledgement chahiye, drop me an email. I'm not kidding you. See, anytime I want to get acknowledged, I walk straight to my mother and say, Mama, aaj maine ye kiya, shabashi do. She gives it to me. Or I go to, my senior head of the department and say, Professor Chaudhary, I did this for the department, please acknowledge me. He acknowledges, that's it, it's handled. Because from that point onwards, now I'm the source of acknowledgement for anybody who touches my life. Nice game, na? See, I'll tell you, now I'm going to say something bad. Can I say something bad? Can I say something? You guys are so good, yeah? You let me say bad things also. So, I'm going to give you 2 stories, okay? 2 short stories. One of them is that even if I give, human beings are very strange people, right? Even if I give you a full freshwater lake, okay, and say this is yours, you'll say, wo to theek hai, लेकिन बाल्टी में लेके आ रहा हूं, पानी का टाइम क्या है? Can you understand the resource that you are and you're looking for कि tap में पानी कब आएगा? Second story. Okay, forgive me, and this is not meant to offend anybody, but hey, we are in the same profession, so I can share it. 2 Masterji teachers in the evening are walking back from school. One of them says, ये जो टाटा है, ये जो बिरला है ना, इनके जितना हमारा अंबानी है, इनके जितना मेरा पैसा हो जाएगा तो मैं उनसे भी अमीर हो जाऊंगा. So that guy, other guy says, यार उतना ही अमीर होगा, उससे ज्यादा अमीर कैसे होगा? ट्यूशन भी तो लूंगा. So you want to get human beings? Alright, that's humanity. That's humanity. We want to stay small. Whereas life is calling us to kind of give itself fully. Life wants us to give ourselves fully to it. It's open, it's available. But we have made decisions in life and now life will go on. Jeevan mein aaye hain to. How many of you understand na? Jeevan mein aaye hain to. Chal raha hai na suffering, malum hai. Okay, good. Alright, any questions you have before we get on to the actual inquiry? Any questions you might have? By the way, you should know I did not start off this way. Brain surgery. Pakka. Anxiety is there. Shabash. Very good. एक घंटे कुछ नहीं यार. क्या हो सकता है एक घंटे में? एक घंटे नॉन इन्वेसिव होगा. एक घंटे में हम ऐसा काम करेंगे कि you actually get in touch with what is it that you can actually bring to the game as a player. Each one of you in this room is a great player. It's just that you've been waiting for the right opportunity. Well, this is it. This is the opportunity. Okay? And last thing to say before I hand over, हम यहाँ बड़बड़ करेंगे, हम दोनों क्या करेंगे? बड़बड़ करेंगे. The barbad gets converted into gold by who? Us. You, the person in your chair. How many of you, I'm sure everybody's heard of Navratilova, the famous tennis player. Okay. So I happened to meet with her coach at one point in time and I said, what makes Martina, right? Martina. Yeah, I said, what makes Martina such a great player? She said one sentence. She says, no matter what I say to her as a coach, she turns it into gold. So, clear कि हम कुछ बड़बड़ करेंगे? Right? As a great player, it is your job to turn it into gold. Acceptable? Yes. Excellent. Alright.
So, professors, how are you doing? Doing very well? Wonderful. It is always great pleasure to be with someone like Professor Sethi. So, as far as what we are going to accomplish, we are not going to accomplish anything, two of us. We are going to just facilitate. What content of this session is, and that's the question. Content is something which you are going to create. It is you who are going to create content, and this you are going to do through self-reflection and conversation. We are not going to talk about the algorithm, model, technology. If at all there is any technology, it is only about self and self-reflection and conversation. Secondly, what we are going to do is that is joint effort. That is not something which is your agenda or someone else's agenda. We are going to co-create something for ourselves. Okay? So that is that's the overall design, and the conversation, the point of conversation will be your institution. And please remember, the institution starts with I, like India starts with I. A request is just to be generous to follow the process. That's the only request, that's the only rule of the game. There are enough scientific evidences, case studies and some bit of our personal experience which suggests that process works. So this is a generosity which we are expecting, which we have already got a commitment for. So this session is about outlook, about attitude. Why it is so important? Why it is important to have so many of you who have so rich experience spending here for 5 days have to think about, and someone thought that this topic and this field must be talked about. Why it is important? Why attitude matters? Why attitude matters? It determines the person's personality. It determines the personality. You are right. outlook or attitude determines where we spend energy and attention and what kind of conversation we indulge into. So no matter what skill and knowledge we have, it is the attitude which determines how we are going to spend that energy and time. Conversation, and that determines the conversation, and conversation determines what gets priority and what is accomplished in the institution. If you want to understand an institution, there is a simple heuristic. Just record the conversations which takes place during the lunch break amongst the faculty members for 3 days. You will come to know what kind of institution this is. You will come to know what is where the energy is flowing or where energy is trapped. So it is conversation which becomes the reality, what we call institution, and then we start cribbing about it or we start feeling pride about it. It is somewhere, sometimes, some conversation is started that's made the institutions which you admire or that made the institution which we don't admire so much. So whether synergy is created where 1 and 1 plus 1 becomes 11 or where 1 plus become 0.75, which is energy, is all somewhere starts from the kind of conversation, and what the kind of conversation is, that starts with the kind of attitude, because that determines where our energy and time is spent. Institutions are nothing but the socially constructed reality, and conversations and our attitude determines that reality. Reality is not out there. Whatever the name of the institutions, whatever is the IIT, of course it is infrastructure, it is technology, it is number of people, but eventually what IIT is, or eventually what is this, what are these colleges are, it is how we experience in our head. So that's what we are going to reflect on. Suppose we are definitely very sincere human beings. Whatever said and whether I was sent or I have come for the program, there is some element of sincerity and I want to make out of it. I want to make something good out of it. What happens when some sincere people start conversing about the institution? Well-intentioned, sincere human beings talking about institution. What do they talk about? Problem areas? What is not working? What needs to be corrected? What needs to be modified? What are the key problem and deficiencies? Sometimes talking about what is not working is the hallmark of our sincerity and commitment. And we keep talking about that. As if institutions or organizations are problems to be solved. But we need to ask a question on our conversation and attitude. Are institutions problems to be solved? Are institutions and organizations problems to be solved? Is nation a problem to be solved? I remember in my childhood, during my student days, there used to be debate competition which still debate competition takes place, but in those days I used to be very active, and there was a very common topic, Bharat ki Dasha. And whenever there is a topic, inevitably we will talk about Bharat ki Durdasha. Dasha is a secular word. It can be Sudasha as well, but nobody talks about that. Same is with the institutions as well. Whenever we talk about as if institutions and organizations are problems to be solved, but are they really the problems to be solved? There must be something great happening. There must be something wonderful happening because of which a student comes to you, looks very, very simple, not inspired, in few days become bundle of energy, explodes, and sometime makes the makes your institution proud. We all are teachers and we see it day in and day out. So many students come to us, come to our institutions, and then they get transformed. Sometimes they surprise us. So something must be wonderful happening. You may think about yourself. How were you when you started taking the sessions and started teaching, and when you were standing first time in the classroom as a teacher? And what has happened now? We might have not updated ourselves, but we might have become very different and wonderful teacher in the journey of this profession, So, if you look at, though there are problems, though there is a tap which is not working, though there is a bathroom which needs repair, though there is a LCD which has to be corrected, though there is a software which is not working, all that is there, but there are always some wonderful things are also happening. There is a miracle always happening if we are willing to look at. So organizations are not problems to be solved, but miracles to be embraced. If we look at from certain outlook. So please remember, skill, knowledge and attitude forms the competence of human being. We can have excellent skills, we can have all required knowledge, but attitude decides where that knowledge and skill goes into. The process which we are going to do has a scientific basis. It is called appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry is based on some basic idea that organizations and institutions are the miracles to be embraced. There is something very good is always happening which is giving life and which is giving meaning to the organization for its existence. It is a collaborative process, it's a provocative process, and it's applied, very much applicable. It starts with a first step called discovery. We need to think about what is giving life to my system. And for that, we need to just think about when did I feel most energized and wonderful being part of this institution. That's the first step. And then we come to know what all great things are happening. The next step is called dream. What might be? Dreams are the symbols of our inspiration. What we can be, thinking about, imagining about, individually and together. And that's the second step in the appreciative inquiry. What might be? Without worrying too much who will do, how it will happen, how money will come, how resources will come, who will give permission, all that. Not thinking about that, just having a clarity of vision. And number of examples, thousands and thousands of stories are telling us that we have to have clarity on what is to be accomplished. Many a time it is not a linear process. Many a time world is willing and this nature is willing to surprise us, but we don't demand for that. So it is important to have a cherished dream, and for the institution it is important to have shared dreams. Next step in this appreciative inquiry is called design. Means what systems and processes will help us to create the institute of my dream. So first have dream and then go to the design. If we start by systems and process, who will give permission and all that, dream is not going to envisioned or realized. And then the fourth step is destiny, which is who will do what and when. How to empower, learn and adjust and improvise. So this process you can search, you can read more about it. A brief write-up is also given to you. It is used in hundreds of organizations in at least 10-15 settings. Me and Professor Sethi have opportunity of using this, and nowhere we did not have surprises. Okay, so There will be some work now. Before that, you have already identified the group representatives, leaders, coordinators. Please also identify someone in the group as timekeeper. Who is good at asking people to finish the task on time? Done? Okay? All the groups, please identify one timekeeper amongst you. So this is the first question coming on your screen here. Is it reasonable or not?
Any weakness in the back? Yes.
Okay. So please read it for yourself first. All of you are having notepads and pens. All of you have take few minutes without starting any conversation amongst yourself. Please don't worry about the logistics about the group. Okay. So please take notes individually on this question. When did and when do you feel most lively?
So, please do the work that Professor Ashish is asking you to do. It's a personal work. It's your own inquiry. At some point in time, we will then request you to get into groups. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay, please continue.
So this is the question. When do you feel most lively in the institution? When and doing what you find your work in the institution the most meaningful and satisfying? This is a personal reflection. Take 3 deep breaths. Exhale through mouth. Stretch your arms. Pay attention to your toes without looking at it. Please don't start any conversation. Just pay attention to your breath. And then please pay attention to your toes. Don't worry about reading it and doing it. Just listen to the instructions. Can you please pay attention to your toes? Without actually searching where are my toes. Don't start searching. Just pay attention to your toes. Spread those. Spread the toes. Contract. Stretch. Contract. No, your toes. Not hands. There is a difference between seeing and doing. We follow what we see. This is a good example. Okay, stretch your toes and contract. Pay attention to it. Take deep breath. Exhale through mouth. And please think about a moment when you felt most lively in the institution. When you felt most grateful to the existence and to the world that you, thank God, you are part of this profession. What gave your life meaningful? What gave meaning to your life? And you felt wonderful that, thank God, that I am in this role of a teacher. So being a teacher was a wonderful gift. It's a huge opportunity to create whatever we wish to create for the good of this world. Just think about those moments when you felt grateful, satisfied, most lively being part of the institution. It is your current institutions. Don't think, no, I felt most lively when I was in school. That's wonderful, but then we are talking about your institutions at the moment.
We'd like you to get back in touch with an experience where you didn't need an alarm in the morning to get up, where you were looking forward to the day, where you said, nobody is going to be sent. You have those moments, right? Yeah, so those are the ones that Professor Professor Ashish asked me to record, there will be more than one certification. Yes?
Yes.
Make a notes about that. Just write 2 words or you send to student after you write it down. That time I went to the principal, they said this, that is good.
How are you feeling? Just even thinking about those moments. Joyful, huh? Energized. Just. May I request some of you to share what you have written? Yes.
When my student gives credit to my teaching for his success or her success.
Thank you.
Complete my task every day to allot me within the time, and also my attitude was the always in positive way was the institute.
Pronunciation? Yeah.
When one of my students gave me a greeting card and a cartoon of saying, when it comes to teaching, you are top there. Those were the moments of feeling myself the
Last year.
While delivering my lectures, when my students pose questions to me, and if I am able to answer them, convince them, motivate them, it makes me very happy.
Great. Thank you. Yes. I'm sure all of us have wonderful experiences and stories.
When we do research projects, the faculty are using and the external appreciates it, we feel very happy.
Great. So I'm sure all of you have wonderful stories and experience to share, and we would love to listen all, but this is the last one. Yes. Yes. Please share with the person sitting beside you. Yeah. Not yet. Yes. Yeah.
I believe also that for every teacher, teaching is always a lively, you could say, an activity where whenever we converse with our students, it's always, interesting, it's always motivating, it inspires us also whenever we learn something from our students. But for me, as an experience personally, I felt most lively for the first time when one of my passed out students, she called me and said that, ma'am, I have always got inspiration from you, and I look forward to be like you in my life. And still today, even if whatever happens, whenever she gets a promotion, or whatever is happening in her life, she calls me and she shares with me, and that makes me very joyful. To have this kind of relationship with a student is really memorable. Thank you.
Thank you. So please turn to your partner sitting beside you. Say hello to him or her, and share this. You have only 2 minutes. One person sharing 1 minute and another person sharing for 1 minute. Okay. So, welcome back, professors. Here is the task now. What you have shared and heard, you need to represent it in the first half of the chart paper which is given to you. Upper part of the chart paper, please use it to represent what you have just shared and heard. And represent it as creatively as possible. Only constraint is of time. That is 10 minutes. So think about what you have heard and shared. Think about how you can represent it creatively and represent it on the chart paper.
So I just want to make sure that the instructions are clear. Yes, what's the question? No, hold on. So, I mean, that's right. So, very good. So, one more time. Everybody, please, one more time. So, whatever you did in introspection personally, okay, you want to now do that as a group, correct?
Yes.
Okay, take 10 minutes to do the discussions, take down notes, etc. Group leader will kindly take note. Group leader, your role will come in now. Timekeeper, your role will come in now. Okay, so for 10 minutes you have internal discussions in your group, and then use the next 10 minutes to creatively put that on a chart, which we can then possibly take pictures and send to you, send to everybody. Okay, so one is not expecting very artistic expressions, but at least creative. Okay, please. Yes. Example what? What is the reproach? So I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that. It's to answer that question. That question needs to be answered on that sheet. Okay? Please go ahead, enjoy. 10 minutes and then another 10. 20 minutes will see you again.
So, here we hang on. Many of you must have tried your hand with the sketch pen on the chart for many years. Huh? So, thanks very much for the generosity. What we are going to do now, we would love to have stories and explanations and this sharing done by all of you in the world. You all know time is a lesson. So, instead of time, we are inviting 3 groups which completed the task first and volunteered to present. So just strictly by first come first serve basis, and somehow they had a representation of 3 different colleges as well. So they will be sharing what they have done in the last stage. In that representation, I am sure you will also find your representation. Huh? We are together in our aspirations, dream what we like when we do something else. So please listen carefully because it is not they representing their story, but they are sharing your experience as well in their story. Please listen to that.
Okay, so I think sometimes it happens that you are left with the experience that I may not get a chance to share. Yes? Okay. So what we do is we set it up so that you can send your chart, we do the chart about that, and you welcome to send us a 2-paragraph write-up. And then we combine all of that and share it with them. Okay, so that way everybody's work gets acknowledged and included. Is that okay with everybody? Yes. Yes!
A very good morning to all of you. We are representing Government Women Engineering College Ajmer. As academicians...
Can I keep coaching you as names?
Yes sir, definitely.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be pointing to certain things which would then open up some things for everybody else. So I just want you to know that it's not about you, it's not about your college, it's not about what you've done.
is actually to be able to open it up so that everybody gets included. Okay? And if there's something that I'm pointing to, it is not to you, it's so that all of humanity shows up. Okay? Alright, good. So you're not representing anybody.
Okay.
You're representing human beings. Thank you.
Okay. As academicians, we feel happy when our students get good placements and secure high marks in examinations. When my students acknowledge our contributions, and when we are appreciated for our contribution towards our colleges. Then, when students achieve great heights in their life, when we become a role model for our students, and every moment in the class is a joy for us. Not only this, we also enjoy in canteen with our colleagues when we debate among ourselves on science and technology, and I think that's it.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot. You're working now.
One thing more, that when we are actively involved in activities which are contributing towards upliftment of our colleges.
Okay,
So,
excellent. Now the question I'm asking is the word when.
maybe,
That's the whole focus here.
okay.
So you say when that happens, it's more like when that happens.
No,
So who's going to make it happen?
we.
So let's be clear that when you make that happen, then that's the consequence.
Yes.
And then when you don't make it happen, also then there's a consequence. This choice is always yours.
Yes.
Right? Okay, very good. Somebody said questions. No, we're not going to take any questions. Anything you want to say? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, very good. Go. Next. Big hand. Thank you.
Well, it is represented with the help of a diagram.
So basically in a college, innocent minds came where the teacher acts as a mentor as well as inspirational guru. There are a lot of processes which takes part on the student. There also the mentor is always there, maybe sometime happy, sometime, but all for good actually. And then gradually these students graduate with a smiling face mostly. They are ready to face the world challenges and make their mark. Ultimately they settle down in different places of the world, and sometimes they meet when a teacher comes to know that now they are doing very successfully in the world. That moment makes the teacher most happy. That's it.
Good morning to one and all sitting in this hall. We as a group feel lively, and we thought, and we have penned down on this paper, we feel lively in institute when we feel that most of the students are really engaged in a class and they are picking up the maximum what the teacher is delivering. On declaration of results, if the...
So, notice there's something being said about when the students are engaged. How many of you experience जितना से मालूम करते students engaging नहीं होते? How many have experienced that afterwards they say thank you and all that? All you have to say wow, great work. At that point in time, in the last experiences, how do I get these students to stand here? How do I get them to react? Attendance is a big deal, right? So when that happens, at God's grace. However, I want you to know that you and I have a say in the matter as to how attendance is going to get back. Okay? Very good. All right.
On declaration of results, when the pass percentage is maximum, and when any alumni calls us and acknowledges that we got inspiration from you and we are a successful citizen, leaving home at evening, but after finishing all my assignments, not having something for tomorrow, that feels me also lively. At the time of receiving acknowledgement from even higher authorities, like Honorable Vice Chancellor, and he really, so better placement, and when students win some competitions, and receiving acknowledgement from society as well to cater some of the societal needs. So these are some events that we feel honor and lively in our institute. Thank you.
So how many of you really please your big hand? How many of you are having appreciation and acknowledgement as a common theme?
Yes, so we have made the announcement.
I know. It's across. Everybody. It's across. Human beings, Alright? There's nothing that makes me more lively than being knowledge. The problem is everybody's waiting. Alright? So if you, and this is not everybody, a lot of times I've seen people who can say, retrofit and then who can say, we don't mean that. What you really mean is to be interpreted basically like this. Basically, when you actually appreciate the strength of that person, okay, and be able to learn from it. And that's the whole story. Whether you are engaging in that or whether you are engaging in what is not good about that person. That's what always happens with that person. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all. And thanks to Prof that he is giving me the time for talking about, apart from, everybody is talking about academics, but apart from that academics, I want to tell something about non-academic programs. We are having, and we kept here as this counseling for students for extracurricular activities. See, one event we are having, as the IIT, we are having MI, Mood Indigo, we are having another type of fest that is known as a Tech Fest. And in the particular Tech Fest, we are introducing a game that is a treasure hunt. And in that treasure hunt, around more than 1,000 students, they are moving around and they are participating in that particular event. So we feel, for that also we feel that something lively and that all the campus, it looks like a live. So that thing I want to share with you all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
What I heard in what you said is, when you actually go beyond the norm and expand the conversation so that larger number of people can participate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a great thing.
So that is not the great thing. That's the live thing that are moving, because it looks like that the complete campus, it is live.
Yeah.
Because each and every students, they are moving. They are moving.
And it's not just on those days of the festival, right? The days that lead up to.
That is apart from acad.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I'm saying is that the preparation for that larger conversation,
Yeah.
which is beyond what normally institute is expected to do, in which people from other colleges come in to participate, when you have had an outreach which is actually going and touching, which is beyond the normal campus, it actually makes you alive, right?
It is within the campus, sir. It is
I know,
not outside the
but
campus.
from outside the campus?
We as well as the students.
Are the
And
people
if the
from
students are feel live, we feel live.
But are people coming from outside also?
No.
Invite
No,
them
no.
next time.
Inshallah.
Pakka.
Inshallah.
See,
right,
I mean,
right,
what makes
sir. That feels something else.
See, there was a time when IIT used to keep having internal things. At some point in time, they said, "Yeah, ye bahut ho gaya. Now we need to expand." So
That is MI.
fabulous.
That is MI.
Fabulous.
Yes, yes. We'll try for that also.
Big hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, how are you feeling, professors? Energized? Yes. Institutions start with I. India starts with I. So that's the next task. Please continue to work in your groups. The group with which you created this all wonderful artwork. And the question is, I think it was previously projected, but it is now the time you need to work on this. But before we project the question, there is a request. Request is, please write down the institute name and the group member's name on your chart paper. You use the first half of the paper to connect back to your source of energy. Now, the second question is, what would you like to implement in the institution after returning from this program to your institution? I'm sure you are exposed to so many possibilities: technological, pedagogical, administrative. Think about what is most meaningful, useful, impactful intervention in your institution.
We are stepping into the next. This beginning was just close, huh? Now we're dealing with a whole new conversation which is not familiar. So, what did I just say? Somebody say, what did I just say? I'll say it again. What did I just say? domain which is not familiar. In fact, there will be resistance to it. You have enough evidence that you have tried many things in the past and they have not worked. So you have personalized it and you are happy at the level of personal acknowledgement and appreciation. I'm accusing you. Everybody with me? This is a difficult conversation. It's going to require generosity like never before. This is where we are asking you to revisit, which in fact you have given up on. So, I just want you to know that this phase, this part, see what you did in the first part of the exercise was extremely, it touches your heart. Okay? This one's going to be painful probably. It will only be painful if you bring or drag the past with you. If you look at the future and start looking at this is who I am, this institute is an opportunity or a canvas to express myself. This is the kind of institute that I run. This is my institute. I am willing to expand from I to the institute. Accurate? See, you and I, how many people married here? Okay. How many people not married? Now, this is the time when people are not married and look at each other. So, how many married people will be able to tell the unmarried people that the idea of being married and actually being married are two different things? Yes? Okay, you did not know that while you have learned to live with yourself, but now to express yourself inside a marriage, your being has to be reinvented. Okay, so everybody with me. When I say that at some point in time, when you got into a relationship, you have to reinvent yourself as a human being. Like it or not, but you are married to your institute. And you deserve the right to continue to operate as an individual. Yes. What a better way. Who's the coach? I salute. But by and large, the topic is human beings. Yes. So, when you are doing this exercise, it will require a whole new you to invent this future. Okay, this is the risky part where you will have to give up who you know yourself to be or what you've been holding right. That's sahi hai, baaki sab galat hai. You have to give up because what is being demanded of you is that you need to now take on the role of being as an institute. Any questions on that? Remains okay. Which kind of role? I don't know. I don't know. See, the point is that which gives you joy, that which makes you alive. Okay? For you to provide that and be representative of the institute. So you are the institute now. You are the person who can speak for the institute, not just for you as an individual. You are the person who will be the source of many activities that can happen and have not happened because you were waiting for someone else to do it. You didn't go to the head of the department or the principal or the director and say, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. After the third time, the person will say, do it. By the way, the difficulty about proposing something in a meeting is that you'll be made responsible for it. You know this? A lot of times people stay quiet in the meeting because the moment you say, the head or chairperson will say, I think you're very interested in this, you take that. And then there goes the nights and there goes the days. By the way, I'm welcoming you to that kind of life, where there's no distinction between day and night. Because when you're in love, what day and what night? You wait for the sun to go up or wait for the sun to go down, but life is okay. You are. You are. I totally appreciate. When you say people, please include yourself in it. Okay, excellent. And you have to pick that up. In-law, out-law, I don't care. So, can you see the relationship with the principal is already in father-in-law? Oh, sorry, sir. Never mind gender bias over there, but okay, mother-in-law. Okay, that's what's going on. So, how many of you have mother-in-laws? Okay, can you convert them to mothers? Come on! Come on! That's all it takes, right? अभी सब हंस रहे हैं, अभी सब वेट कर रहे हैं, देखिए देखते कितने दिन चलती है आपकी बात। कोई होती है बात, देखते हैं कितने दिन ये बात होती है ना? किसको बुलाते? आपको क्या नहीं बुलाते? तो आप बुलाओगे यार? आप बढ़ गए ना? बड़ा कौन है? तो आप बुलाओ। नहीं, पर आपका एक्नॉलेजमेंट है ना? Appreciation है ना? This is not about mother-in-law, guys. This is not about mother-in-law. It's basically what it's going to take to get the work done. Let's talk. Where do you go? Okay. So, जो भी हम बोलेंगे is actually to the benefit of everyone. This is not about you because you are one big person. It takes a big person to stand up and want to share. Okay, so thank you for that. Whatever conversation we have, you and I both be committed that it actually forwards the work we try to do. Honest? Well, about it.
नाराज में स्पीच है
Got it. Can you complete that relationship and make sure that healing can happen?
Actually, I have love marriage, so that's the problem.
Can you get that, everybody? I don't know why to pick that.
So I
don't know why to pick that. But because people do that.
मेरी खुशी से चल रहा
So, I just want to acknowledge you for standing your life. Even though you know that things around you would not be very pleasant or
I'm still trying. I'm still trying to communicate to her.
no, but first you got back on. See, how many of you have at some point in time, not taken the risk? You took the risk. अभी calculated है इसमें बहुत calculation का करने नहीं है.
So what?
See, so the point is that between you and me, people will it's okay. They're not standing where you and I are standing. Okay, I'm inviting them to stand where you and I are standing. So, you got my acknowledgement. You have a wonderful wife. Yeah. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So, I'm now going to, I'll give you my email. Okay? I want you and me to be in touch, and within 3 days, you want to shift your relationship with your mother-in-law.
I will try.
Okay? You want to have, उनकी तरफ से नाराजगी जायज है. Say no problem. आपकी तरफ से all there is love and respect.
Sure.
Possible?
Sure.
See, that's what I can ask you. And that's what you can promise. Circumstances क्या होता है मैं मालूम नहीं.
I'm promising you.
Can you get that this is not about the in-law you say, what are you talking about? The moment they say in-law can't be a good relationship. What nonsense is that? So this is not about that. It's actually about him having taken a stand in life, and there are consequences to taking a stand in life. It's risky. But he took that risk. And whatever happened, how many years did you marry? 17. Okay. Now you promised me one thing though. You will not go to your mother-in-law that the coach told you to go. For your spouse and for your family, 17 years is a long time. Okay, and life is short. You have no idea. Absolutely. 17 years what he's going through, you have no idea. No, there's no problem anywhere. Is there a problem, Ashish? There's no problem. What we want to deal with is coming from a place of creating a new future. Yes? Will you give up that there's a problem? Our institutes a problem?
They are miracles to be embraced.
They are miracles to embrace. You trying it? Excellent. Alright, so let's start with your spouse's brother. Okay, give him a big hand, please. So, you want to say it here? Okay, so
Implementation.
do we know what to do now? So in your group, please start the work. First do a 3-minute reflection on what you think you can actually make a difference in your institute. And then as a group, do 10 minutes of work, and then another 10 minutes to make a draft.
And I hope some more people will be joining. Only 2 from the group. Only 2 from the group. 1 or 2. Okay, so this is looking interesting.
So we made actually IIT Mumbai and
Okay. And are there some more people joining? Okay, so this is a great site, and that reminds us again one thing. Institute starts with I. India starts with I. Give a big hand to all of you. I have requested 3, not necessarily they were the first, but they were amongst the first, Paharampur and MBM and Udaipur, yes. So, can you all see that in their dreams, yours are also getting expressed? Are you able to see that? Okay, so now we have
Sir, we have around 10.
That's okay. Come at least one more member, please join.
No,
to help
actually 10 goals.
Yeah.
Should I go about all or the important 5?
Important 2, 3.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So, implementing the training program, we have set few goals for Pala Maharaja Engineering College, Berhampur, Odisha. And I'm going to just talk about few very important ones. Starting with think, pair and share. That is peer learning. Next is invite industries to set up their lab for joint research program within the campus. Then the next one is Go Green Campus. Third one is student collaboration. Of course, mentoring program and promoting research environment to address local needs. And last but not the least, of course, brain surgery. We would try to implement something like this. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks very much. So people here are more and more willing to do brain surgery, huh? They are presenting their brain to be... Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. We are from Government Women's Engineering College, Ajmer. And we have made actually this a big bottle at IIT Mumbai. They are having enough water into their campus comparative to our college. So we just want to feed up by IIT Mumbai through many of the things which has very much enthusiastic like Moodle, SMP, SARC, TARA, active learning, and we wish to be bigger bottle as compared to the IIT. Thank you.
Thank you. So, good morning to all. Our College of Technology and Engineering is a premier institute of Rajasthan, but we have to rise up to the national level. And during this 5 days training program, we have learnt a lot. And what we are going to implement in our college to have a CTA, a big giant tree. We have learnt the professional attitude from the IITians, especially from Sachin sir, Srinivasan sir, Gerde sir, and also from Pandey sir and Sethi sir team. We have to use the Moodles and mock for both our students and as well as for the teachers. We have to provide a management system through mentorship involving students, where we have to accomplish task-based academic activities to the students, further leaves to grow regarding the awareness and urge for innovation throughout the institute, and development of the research aptitude in the institute, and all this we have to accomplish through a positive attitude which we have learned in today's class. Thank you very much.
Good morning everyone. We are from MBM Engineering College. See, we have adhered to one instruction, we have made it completely illustrative. So if you can see, we have shown a hostel room where there is a guy sitting on his bed and then using Moodle. Then we have shown a lab where there is open source software, there is textbook companion. We have shown another part where we are showing alumni interaction, alumni interacting with the students of our college. Then we have shown a PG. PG is where the students live outside campus. Here we have shown the SMP mentorship program where a senior has gone and he is saying to the student, I'll help you. Then we have shown Tata Center collaboration. There is a project going on and the students are with it. I have not shown active learning because we've been practicing that for a long time in our college, so I have not particularly shown that. Then in the end, all our group members, Akhil Ranjan sir, Sankla sir, Chaudhary sir, Sankla sir, Shravan Ramji and me, always available for the students. Thank you. We have another young faculty from our college who has added to the teaching. She'll explain her point. Whatever I have not mentioned, she will mention as a newcomer to our college.
Hello all. So I had described everything in the tree form. So we are taking the primitives in the teaching. Also we are taking certain steps for establishing new clubs. Then mentorship program. And we will establish certain cells which will be certainly helpful for the students. For the research and consultancy, we will go for MOUs with the companies and we will develop certain interdisciplinary projects. Then for the environment especially, we are supposed to move for recycling and waste management. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Good noon everyone. We are CTAs and the CTA is a tree. The strength of the tree depends upon the branches and what is being given. Here what we have shown is the old fashioned leaves have been fallen and we'll be having the new leaves with whatever we have learned these 5 days. And we have IIT Bombay watering us so that we can grow much bigger. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning everybody. Actually our plan, we are a teacher. What we do, there's a students, it is shown that those are on the ladders, and we are going to hold those students so that they will success in their lives. Success, the meaning of success That does not mean get the degree and get the job. They will do something for the nations. That is the main motto. So this is the message from our institute, and here it means steps are already mentioned over here. We want to make clean and eco-friendly our areas where the students are there, and provide placements to students also. Students resolving problems related to their career. Classes taken effectively and great. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks to the organizers of this workshop. After these 5 days, we are carrying with us certain technologies for teaching pedagogy. I'm just listing out think, pair and share. That is the best one we have learned here, which now we are going to implement it actively in our institute. Then we will have appreciate always the teamwork where the faculty and the students will be working together. Appreciation, we have to learn how to appreciate everybody and everybody's efforts. Then another thing is encouragement. You have to encourage the sparkling minds, and we have to learn about that. And lastly, the ideation. The things are to be converted into innovative ideas, and we must let the students go ahead with the ideation.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what do you think? Should we end this session with the only presentation or to move to the next step? There is something more. So I hope all of you have done a great amount of thinking with a lot of involvement. It is only with the involvement things happen. You can't. I can understand that some of you are so passionate about your ideas, and passion is the sign for energy, positive energy, and you are going to make the difference. Please make difference there. Presenting here or not presenting here doesn't have much of the consequence in terms of what is the mission we have taken up. And whenever we take responsibility, we submit one right. What is that? That right of being upset. Whenever you take responsibility, you want to make things happen for the larger purpose. There will always be questions raised. There will always be imperfections pointed out. But if I have submitted my right to be upset, then only I am able to do that. So, welcome to this journey. You are already in this journey, and this is one milestone, I can say, where we re-energize ourselves. We recommit ourselves. All learning is eventually relearning. So what we are doing here is a lot of relearning, reminding ourselves, and reminder is extremely important. Even the brightest of the bright people require reminder. How many of you have heard something called, a text called Anugita? So there is a Bhagavad Gita and there is Anugita. Anugita was shared by Sri Krishna when Arjun said, after many years of the Mahabharata war, that you said something during the Mahabharata, in the beginning of the Mahabharata war, and I was able to put in my best foot forward and I could take the war, but I have forgotten everything. So even Arjun can forget everything. Who are all of us? We all have to remind ourselves, remind each other for those positive commitments which we have made. What is the kind of outlook is required to make all this happen which you are intended to? We all are enthusiastic about something. We want to make things happen. And then something we see which is not right sometimes. Something we see which is unpleasant. Somewhere we face some unfairness. Somewhere we see that I was not given what I rightly deserved, and then we put off. And then we stop making efforts. That is the journey. We start with energy, and then we see something which might be wrong. But in what is the kind of attitude which we must uphold, so that on the face of some unfair events of life as well, we continue to work. Because that's how people have worked. I am always reminded of Nelson Mandela. How many years of prison he had been to? 27 years. Robben Island, 27 years. And then he forgave the people who imprisoned him. And that's how we could restart the journey. So we have to learn the art of forgiving, re-energizing, because that is important to make things happen. Would you like to have some more fun? Huh? If I ask you to enact something. So drawing, painting is done. Now it's a session for dramatic, some acting. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. So please make the pairs, means wherever you are sitting, identify the partner. Okay. Give name A and B to the partners. Person with the dark shirt or the more hairs can be A or something like that. So choose your criteria and give a label A. All A's, please raise your hand. A. Yes. All B's. B. Make pairs. Last row. Pairs made. Once again, all A's, hands up. All B's. Okay. Okay. Now please, are you willing to listen to the instructions? So, imagine, so this is a classroom by the way, but imagine this is a hotel. It's a wonderful place to have a grand party. The party is going on. Almost like you can consider this is a Renaissance ballroom, which is actually another side of the lake. All A's, why don't you stand up? Please stand up. Stand up, please. All A and B, both, all A, everyone, please stand up. A, B, both, please stand up. A and B, both. Okay. I have not asked you to start discussion. All A's are host. This is a party and all A's are the host. They have to take care of B's. A's, please take care of B's. So how are you feeling, B's? Taken care of? Okay. Virtually. Now reverse the role. All B's are the host and A's are the guest. B's, please take care of A's. Okay. Role play over. Reflection starts. What do you feel when you are guest? As a guest, what is our attitude? How do we feel? What do we do? As a guest, we expect, we wait, we look for what is good, what is not good. Huh? We remain formal. Huh? We wait for others to invite. We are not that forthcoming. Well, how do we feel when we are host? We are responsible, we are welcoming, we take care of things, we make things happen. We take responsibility of the positive climate and facilities both. If we can't give facilities, at least we can create positive climate. That much can be done. That's what we do as a host. So that's what is the outlook. We, at any point of time, whether at home or at job, whether in market or in traffic, Moment to moment, we have to make a choice whether we want to be the host or we want to be the guest. How do you want to spend our life? Do you want to spend life as a guest? When we live like guests, how do we do with life? We wait, we think, okay, chalo aa gaye hain to jeena hi padega types. So guest has that waiting attitude. But as a host, if we choose to be the host, then however things are, I have to start from there. This is the choice. Sometimes we have to make consciously, and most of the time we make unconscious choices of being a guest. Whenever you feel sad, whenever you feel down, whenever you think not best things are happening, whenever you think things could be much better, remind yourself that you are not guest here. I am the host here. I am the host here. Just remind yourself. And then automatically you start seeing something which you otherwise are not able to see. You start doing things which otherwise others didn't think that you are capable of doing. It is how deeply we ingrain this, and that requires reminder, that requires constant reflection, reminder to yourself and reminding to others. When we say what is positive outlook, and the title of the session was positive outlook, we said no, we are going to talk about outlook. Positive or not positive is the next thing. When we say positive attitude, it is not looking not looking negatives or challenges. It is not that we are not looking at what is not functional. We are not going to look at what is dysfunctional, what needs to be corrected, what needs to be included. It is not like that. Positive attitude is our inspiration is greater than dysfunctionalities. Wherever things have happened, people are able to make things happen, not because they didn't see the negatives, not because they didn't have challenges, not because they didn't have the pain, but their inspiration was greater and deeper than the pain. Their sense of responsibility was much greater than their complaints. And that's how things have happened. So, if you are thinking that we are going to leave you with the message, only see right things, only see good things, things will just fall into the place, they are not going to fall in the place. You may remain little more happy, but if you don't see the challenges, if you don't tackle them, if you don't handle them, things are not going to improve. Just by just by having our eyes closed towards the negativities and challenges and pains, things are not going to happen. Things are going to happen when we look at the pains, when we look at the challenges, and we also are in touch with our inspiration. And our inspiration, we keep energizing it and keeping it deeper and higher than our pains. There is one more simple exercise. This is again a group work. Just think about whatever you want to implement. Take only one initiative. I know you have written tens of things. My request is for this exercise and for implementation, take one or two things. Make it happen, then move to the next one. So take one example of whatever you have written and identify what are the forces which are supporting that change and what are the forces which are opposing that change. So that is called, in the organization development field, force field analysis. That force field analysis was presented by Kurt Lewin. He is a great social scientist, and he writes, and this idea and this technique is very simple, but it has worked for many decades. So there is no reason I see it will not work in your case, in our case. Every time we do it subconsciously, but our invitation is to do it a little more consciously. Write down what is one change you want to see in the institution. Write down the driving force and please write down the restraining force. While listing it down, you will start getting the idea how to increase the driving forces and how to decrease the restraining forces. Individually, please write down individually. Okay. So now I will be posing few questions. You know that after every class or every course there has to be a quiz. Huh? There has to be a quiz. Class must end with a quiz. So here is a quiz coming on your way. Answers are very simple. They are in yes or no. You have to shout the answers. Can anything in the world accomplish without inspiring others? Yes, no, maybe? Yes. Not everybody is saying. Yes. Can anything be accomplished in this world without inspiring others? No! No! Nothing can be accomplished in this world without inspiring others. Even if you are a scientist and you have to work in your laboratory for 16 hours, you need to have influence someone, some funding agency, some of your institution administration, your HOD, your PhD scholar, your colleague. Not all research can be done by individual person. Nothing in this world can be accomplished individually without inspiring others. So have that clarity. We need others as much as they need us and vice versa. Can anything be done without team? No. Team is inevitable. Now there is a tricky question. It is not yes or no. What do we have in the institution? Groups or teams? I said this is a tricky question. I said it is a tricky question. Unfortunately, in some of the institutions, if there are 25 faculty members, there are 26 groups. Why 26 groups? Because when we three meet, we talk about the fourth one, and not so pleasantly. And when we three meet, we talk about you. But what is the difference between team and group? What is the difference between team and group? Okay, so groups work on commonality. Team works on complementarity. Group works on commonality. We are very common in cribbing about HOD, isn't it? That's a wonderful time pass. Means even if I'm not in the great terms with my colleague, but if he is also not happy and I am also not happy with the HOD, then we become friends. That is group, that is not team. Team needs complementarity, where we have one common goal, but where we are using our individual competencies and capabilities to make things happen. Group is a time pass activity. Team is activity. It is action. Yes. So that's the difference between what you are going to form in the institutions. Teams or groups? Accomplish something. Teams accomplish. Groups crib, or at max they have fun together. How to be a super team? Team means complementarity. Teams happen only when we acknowledge each other's competencies. If I am the researcher, my biggest criteria is to evaluate everyone whether this person is a researcher of certain type or not. If I am a good teacher, I start discounting everyone but who is a good teacher. Is this the right attitude? It is not going to work. Institutions require all type of capabilities and all type of commitment. We require all type of competencies. How to use that complementarity, that is the skill. Research team होना चाहिए, होते ग्रुप हैं. Yes. Research team होना चाहिए, institution team होना चाहिए. Okay, so it starts with acknowledgement. The teams start with acknowledgement. And whenever you form a team, initially it will be chaotic. Because that is the natural process. That's a storming. It is called a storming. It happens. After this storming, some norms starts emerging. That is the phase of norming. When some ground rules are set, if we have a good ground rules, if we have positive ground rules, team moves to the next level, that is performing. If our team doesn't have, so if one step is not completed well, team won't enter into the second stage. The stage 1 is norming, stage 1 is storming. If it is handled well, it reaches to norming. When norming is done properly, it reaches to performing. You must have seen so many groups. They just not able to start performing because they don't have the norms, the rules set up for working. And then comes that journey, and then it becomes the wonderful experience which you cherish. If you have once experienced the power and the positivity of working in a great team, you will surely would like to replicate it for yourself and for the people around you. So, with these simple ideas, we know that these are not something which is rocket science and which is very complicated or something which you didn't know. It is just matter of reminding to each other. In that process, I am reminded of this, and I am going to remind myself to be host always. Okay, so that is my takeaway from this session. That is the difference between science and art. Science is based on the facts. You know this leads to that causality. But art is a matter of practice. So it's a matter of practice. Standing here, telling these things is the easiest thing in the world. And I am reminded of an interview of Bhimsen Joshi, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Bharat Ratna. All of you have heard his name. Few years before his death, there was an interview. An interviewer asked, Panditji, you have accomplished so much. Is there some bandish, is there something in life, some bandish you want to still yearn to be able to sing or do something which you have not been able to? He said, अरे नहीं बेटा, अभी तो ग भी ठीक से नहीं लगता. So Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, few years before his death, is saying, oh भाई बहुत मिला जीवन में पर ग भी ठीक से नहीं लगता. That's a matter of art. We all are in the same boat. I'll end this session with a video. Summarizes whatever we have discussed. There's a lot of I we have talked about. I stands for, institute start with I, India starts with I. So there's 3 more I coming on your way in this video.
Especially in Silicon Valley, see, the leadership is such an important thing, right? And we have seen in the last 10, 15 years, certain challenging moments where people succumbing to pressures where they violate the ethics insider trading and so on and so forth, which actually poses a huge challenge, especially if some of these leaders are viewed as iconic figures, right? So what would be your advice for all of these people who are here?
So first of all, talking about leadership, there are three basic qualities which are a must for a leader. The most basic thing is insight. That is, you have some insight that others don't have. You're able to see something that others are not able to see. Otherwise, you're a contrived leader. You've somehow gotten up there and you're always worried how you will fall down. Unless you're able to… leadership means you want to sit on a perch. If you sit on a perch and you can't see any better than the people who are not sitting on the perch, you will become a joke. Yes or no? Once you sit on the perch, you must be able to see something that others are not able to see. A leader means he's a lookout person. It need not necessarily mean that you're able to do something better than somebody else, but you're able to see better than somebody else. Once you're able to see something that others cannot see, however clumsy you may be, you still become a leader. People will still look up to you because you are seeing something that they cannot see. This is most important. One needs to just work at that to develop a keenness of sight. Keenness of sight means… So you need to understand, right now human visual apparatus are hugely loaded with memory. There's a whole system of yoga. Inner engineering is just one expression of that. There's a whole system of yoga as to how to clean your eyes of memory. See, to give you an example, suppose there are a crowd of 100 people standing there, but there's one face that you're familiar with. If you look at like this one face seems to be brighter than the remaining 99 faces. Have you noticed this? This is because the vision is aided by memory. Because there is a previous memory, that face stands out. So, always in your vision, your memory is playing a very important role. So, to develop an eye which is not tainted by memory. See, memory is a useful thing. Without memory, you wouldn't know what's what. But at the same time, to develop an eye which has no memory in it, this is what the yogic systems are referring to as the third eye. Do not understand third eye as some freaky thing that your forehead will crack and something will come out of it. A third eye means these two eyes are hugely aided by the memory process. A third eye is an eye which is not invested in memory, just vision. Simply see. If you look like this, you should not even recognize who is male, who is female, simply looking. You don't even have to recognize this is a human being or an animal or just an inanimate thing, you don't do that, simply looking at it. If you learn to simply look at things without any of the previous acquired memory, then you see things that others cannot see. Next thing is to have the necessary inspiration to pursue this insight. You may see something, you may not have the energy and the passion to pursue that. Any number of people in their growing years have come up with bright ideas in their mind, but they never had the energy nor the enthusiasm to pursue that, because pursuing will extract a certain prize from you, pursuing anything. If you're venturing out into something new, there is no guaranteed success about it, okay? For this, you must have an inner balance, that your success is not about how much it's going to be appreciated in the world, whether everybody is going to say okay to it or not. That's not the point. What you have seen is so important, it's worth investing your life behind it. This needs to happen. And when things start beginning to happen, when these things start happening, then the most important thing is integrity. As you climb higher, the value of integrity keeps going up, because if you climb 2 steps, people will look at you. If you climb 5 steps, they'll look at you with a binocular. If you climb 100 steps, then they're looking at you with a microscope, okay? So, I mean, even if you keep everything straight, somebody will be always inventing something about you, believe me. Anything that a man can do and cannot do, they accuse me of it, okay? There's no end to it. People who I have never met, I have never seen, seem to know more about me than myself. So this will happen, but that's not the point. It is just that whatever you're investing your life upon, is it worthwhile for you? And is it worthwhile for everything around you? If that much is settled, these things will happen. You don't think of leadership. I am a very reluctant leader, okay? I always like to be not in the limelight, but I am always on, because invariably it happens. Wherever I try to stand at the back, invariably people will push me to the front. This is not because you aspire for it, this is because you're constantly looking at things with a certain vision, with a certain clarity, that invariably people will recognize that, and that should not be the measure of success. How many people recognize you is not the measure of your success. To what extent are you able to follow up on things that you see as a solution?